Namaste everyone. My name is Dr. Suresh, and I'm currently overseeing the Department of Nutritional Medicine for eGlobalDoctors.com. eGlobalDoctors.com is a platform for telehealth. We have doctors across US, UK, India, Europe, and other places, serving hundreds and thousands of patients across the world who are in need of expert medical guidance. So today's topic is the science behind Ramadan fasting. So how good is fasting and who should do it and how to do it? Are there any benefits of doing fasting? So let's talk about the physiological aspect of or the benefits of fasting. See, when we consume food, it goes into our esophagus, from there into stomach, get processed in the intestines, and undigested food gets eliminated from our system. So it's a complex process involving a lot of hormones, enzymes, and there are so many other mechanisms. So what happens during fasting? So all the food, once it is digested, it gets absorbed into our bloodstream, and the first place that all the food goes into is our liver. And consider liver to be like a mother. So we do work in a family, and we get all the food, and mother cooks the food and serves to the entire family. So consider liver to be like that. Once all the nutrients that are extracted from our food reaches the liver is the place which distributes, like, okay, how much to store and which organ needs how much, and accordingly it delivers the amount of glucose into the blood. That's how we get our energy. Now, if in our normal life we are waking up and we start with either caffeinated drink, some kind of beverage, and then go for breakfast, then something to snack in between before our lunch, then lunch and evening snacks and late night dinners, so that means we are giving a lot of work to our liver. And we don't just do that, but some people, they smoke, they drink, and they take all kinds of what do you say, artificial colored or other kinds of foods that are loaded with chemicals. So we are exposed to that, and we all live in industrialized world where we inhale a lot of chemicals and unknowingly. So that is the perk of living in a industrialized world. We can't help it. So liver is one of the primary detoxifying organs in our body. So what it does is, apart from processing all the nutrients, it is also the primary organ to eliminate all the toxins. Imagine there is a home, and the mother is always cooking, serving, cooking, serving, cooking, serving, and she's not getting any kind of rest to clean up the kitchen or to clean up the house. So how the house would be? So this is called a detox. So what happens in this the so-called 12 to 14 months of hours of fasting during Ramadan is, at least we are giving our system, the digestive system, which is nourishing us, some respite, some time to cleanse our body. So the first benefit that happens, so there is a lot of debate what is detox, and detox is a buzzword by alternative practitioners and all. Is there any scientific basis? So that most of the doctors, we as doctors, we know that all the drugs are eliminated either by kidney or by liver by a process called detoxification. So here I'm not talking about that process, but what I'm saying is, when you refrain from eating on a consistent basis throughout the day, when you take in the morning at the stroke of sunset till, and don't take anything sunrise to the time of sunset, what happens is you are giving your digestive system the required uh, time to cleanse and detoxify our body out of all the toxins, whether we are knowingly or unknowingly, and most of the time innocently, because even the sprays that we use, the coloring agents and the cosmetics, all of them, they get accumulated over a period of time in our body, and the liver is the primary organ to cleanse our system. So first benefit, if you ask me, out of fasting, is detoxifying your body. Second, like, whenever you are not eating that much, obviously your blood sugar levels will come down, and that means whatever the fat that is accumulated in our body, So the starvation metabolism kicks in, and the body starts using the reserve fuel. So initially it is glycogen, and once the glycogen reserves are getting depleted, the body starts breaking down fat. So in this way, it helps people reduce weight. And once the body knows, within few days of fasting, the body knows that, okay, I'm getting food only in the morning and in the evening. So what it does, the body, the perceives this situation is as is. So I need to regulate my hormonal production. So don't assume that the body works like a, performs like a clockwork. Okay, so this time the insulin is going to release, and this time the glucagon, no specific timings. So we control our metabolism by our conscious actions. So the body immediately adapts. So many people think that, okay, I am a sugar patient, and probably I'm going to hypoglycemia and all. No, actually what it does is, so the kind of food it is getting, the body will adapt to the situation. So the hormones, most of the time, it gets regulated. And there are some studies done by Cleveland and some doctors in UAE. They've come up with the conclusion that, yeah, it reduces cholesterols and triglycerides in the blood as well. So these are the physiological benefits. But what is Ramadan? Is it like abstaining only from food? And so if I am talking only about like abstaining food and the benefits of food, so I can take a class on intermittent fasting, which is now a buzzword all over the world. And so many gurus and teachers are propagating and proposing it. So it is similar kind of thing. I mean, there are different ways of fasting in different faiths. So there are Lent days in Christianity, and in Hindu culture, there are so many days that these people fast. So the fasting is required. But what fasting is? So if I talk about only food, then I'll become a clinical nutrition. If I talk about only the medical benefits of fasting, then I'll become a medical doctor. But I am not. I mean, though I am both, but I do much more than that. For me, nutrition is not something only you eat through your mouth. Okay, there are so many things. So if you look at what are the do's and don'ts of Ramadan fasting, it's not just about food or a drink, anything. If these are physiological benefits, there are psychological, emotional, spiritual, and other benefits as well. Let's try to see, because I'm a holistic coach and I don't see uh, people in parts. So I see them as whole. So your work and your faith and your family, your finances and your relationships, your body, your food are not different entities. This is what the one of the greatest thinkers of our time, Judy Krishnamurti, says is the violence of life. So we live in this fragmented life. We don't see life as a total picture. The moment you start seeing the picture, the moment you start seeing the purpose of or the reason behind the given Ramadan fasting for a month, especially on the ninth month of Islamic calendar. So there is much beyond abstaining from food. You have to abstain from other pleasurable activities and other harmful activities. So one needs to abstain from having physical relationships, and abstain from, most importantly, the psycho-emotional behavior. So harmful psycho-emotional behavior. What is this harmful psycho-emotional behavior? If you teach a kid to perform, I mean, kid in the sense like youngsters who are in the who are allowed to fast, consider this: they are used, their body is used to consume 3 meals or 4 meals a day. The moment you fast, there is a sense of achievement, and it increases the confidence, the self-confidence in a person. That means they're becoming uh, psychologically much stronger. And what is it? I mean, it increases the willpower. Okay, I did it for one day, let me do it for second day, third day, fourth day, and there is sense of achievement. And once you do that, so psychologically you're becoming more able, I mean, more stronger. And not only that, there is one book by two doctors, and I forgot the name. Like, it is the neuroscience of the biochemistry of neuroscience, but I'll give you the reference in the comment section later. So in that, they specifically mentions that eating less actually activates your brain. So lot of sugar actually makes your brain sluggish and hyperactive. That is the reason why some of the neurologists, they suggest this keto diet for treating epilepsy, so to cut down the sugar. And even in some cancer treatments, they want to cut down the sugar, and they also suggest keto or modified keto diet. So excess sugar actually makes your brain sluggish, and while fasting, your brain actually becomes more alert and active. Okay. And are these the psycho-emotional benefits? No, psychologically you're becoming more alert and you're becoming more confident and more energetic. But what about the emotional aspect? So the Quran clearly mentions that one should also refrain from negative emotional traits like anger, jealousy, frustration, or violence. So you have to fast from those emotions as well. So you have to let go of those emotions. That is what is more critical. See what happens. I mean, like, your body is well fed and your senses are all working in full steam, and we have to look into the context where the Archangel Gabriel conveyed the message to Prophet Muhammad. In those times, 1300, 1400 years back, those are all warring tribes, and one has to, how do one control their emotions, their anger, to fight and to fight the lust, or the fight for power and all these things. How do we control those emotions? Just by controlling the food, all these emotions will get controlled. So the Ramadan is not only letting go of the food or drink or these things, but also letting go of our emotional imbalances, whatever there is. And there are certain do's as well. That also is important. And as a holistic nutritionist, for me, all these aspects are important. So it is imperative on a practicing Muslim that they donate and they perform charity. Why is it important? Why it was included in the holy month of Ramadan? Consider this: you give something to someone who is less fortunate than you are. What happens in your heart? Do we feel good or bad? We feel good. So when you are feeling good, the feel good hormones are released in our body, aren't they? So oxytocins, dopamines, serotonins, all of them are released. Once they are released and your body flooded with these emotions, go and interact with all the cells, and all the cells are celebrating. And how do we celebrate? Usually by cooking more. So the cells, they start cooking more. That means whatever stored energy, whether it is fat or glycogen, glucose, all of them is converted into energy. From mass, it is converted into energy. When it is converted into energy, our body becomes lighter. And when you feel lighter, you feel healthy. Yes. So by giving something to someone, in fact, is making you healthy. That is the paradox. I mean, many people think that, okay, if we give something to someone, okay, we are getting deprived of something. But in fact, it is not. By giving to someone, and practicing charity is one of the cornerstones of practicing Ramadan. Why it is required? And the last and the most important thing for me is, how do you spend throughout the day? Okay, so one should spend in the time in prayers. So the number of times you pray. I mean, like, there are so many people, I mean, skeptics and atheists, they come and say, like, does God exist, and do prayers work? I mean, there are wonderful studies which say, like, and there is a book by Wayne Dyer, The Power of Intent. With what intent are you praying? Okay, so now, having practiced the fasting, I am able to understand the pain of hunger. I could see the pain of hunger in my fellow human being, no matter which faith he belongs to. But he's a human being, he's a creation of Allah. So if I get to know and I experience that, then I offer something to that person, and I thank God for giving me this life and be a faithful son or daughter to them. So it is like you are not just eating through your mouth, you are eating or consuming through your senses as well. So that means the moment you cut down all your senses and sensual pleasures of the world, I mean, what is happening around and uh, accumulating money or power, and you go inside, right? So in yogic culture, we call this as pratyahara. So that means like drawing all the senses inwards. The moment you go there, that's where you get connected to the higher power, I mean, the God. So when you realize that yeah, the God is protecting me, the God has given me this thing, the more time you start reading the scriptures and in prayers and start being grateful for whatever you have and start sharing it with your fellow human beings, that is like actual practice. I mean, like the total practice of Ramadan. And this I come to know about one of my friends. He's a doctor, but he went on, I mean, to become one of the toppers in civil services later. And when he started practicing this Ramadan, he told me all these things, so which I'm happily sharing with you. So one more last thing before I conclude, because I'm already past my time. Uh, Rumi says that beyond the concept of right and wrong, there exists a place. I'll meet you there. If we understand the profoundness of those statements, we stop living in the world of black and whites. We always say that this is right and this is wrong. And we think that there is only gray area. No, between black and white, there is complete rainbow. Okay, and we miss that beauty, and we fail to embrace these different colors and different cultures and different faiths, and we see the beauty in all the hues. And just because I love orange, I cannot find fault with someone who loves blue. Okay, as simple as that. But we need to understand the context first, and why it was given and what is the science behind it. Otherwise we'll be performing a dead habit. Okay, and one quote from Gitanjali by universal poet Rabindranath Tagore, where he mentions clearly, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into dreary desert sand of dead habits. Here, the poet says, habits become dead, like dreary dead sand of a desert. I mean, like dreary desert sand. That means what? If I am doing an action out of habit and I don't know the meaning of it, then it is dead. So the clear stream of reason should not be lost. So when we are reasonable people, we are rational people, and we can celebrate each moment of our life. Thank you all very much for this opportunity. Namaste.